Ready? Right. Here at the gym, my gym, I don't know if I've not mentioned that by the way, I've got a gym, don't know if you know that. Every Tuesday we do gymnastics classes, right? So we do gymnastics classes every single Tuesday, and we typically run anywhere from between 3 and 6 week blocks on a certain movement to try and make it better. So a lot of the times in CrossFit, you'll randomly just do toes to bar on a workout, or you'll randomly just do rings on a workout, whereas what I try and do is take one particular skill and we'll flesh that out over the coming weeks so that you can actually get a wee bit better at it. So what I've got here is the workout that we're going to be doing, or part of the session that we're going to be doing over the next 4, maybe 6 weeks to get you better at the ring muscle up, okay? I broke this into a couple of different things that we're going to do. General warm up as usual, but I'm not going to cover that today because I've got that separate video for that. But basically what we're going to go into is 3 different components that are going to get you to be able to do the ring muscle up. Hopefully there's some B-roll of me banging out muscle ups right now. First up is going to be isometric holds. So we're going to do some isometric holds from the top of the dip, from the bottom of the dip, and from the top of your chin up. Then we're going to go into a dynamic shit. I didn't have a name for this, so I've just called it that, where you're going to do things like the ring dip, a kip swing, and then a ring transition. And then the last stage, or the last piece of the puzzle, is where we actually go into the ring muscle up, where we go through a toes to ring, a hip to ring, and then the spotted ring muscle up. Now, with all of that being said, I'd probably say about 90% of the attendees who come to the gymnastics class can't do a ring muscle up. Some of them can't even do strict pull-ups yet. So what's the point of all this? Well, the point of it is that you'll find a section of the workout where you're tapped out at. So whether you're just staying in this isometric hold section for the next 4 to 6 weeks, that's where you'll stay and that's where you'll progress and that's where you'll get better. If you begin to get a little bit stronger or you have the strength already, you'll transition into the dynamic shit where you'll be doing things like ring dips, like kip swings and like ring transitions. And if all of those are nailed, that's when you move on to the final piece of the puzzle. So depending on where you're at in the class, if you're someone like Mark that can bang these out, you'll be straight down here doing toes to rings, hips to rings, spotted ring muscle ups, and then getting into some EMOMs to try and build it out. Where if you're someone that's more of a beginner, you'll be doing isometric holds, where you'll be doing holds in the top of the dip, bottom of the dip, and then building up your strict chin up. So I'm going to go through some of those movements just now. Let's go. Let's go. Right. First up is the isometric hold. So you're going to be doing 3 movements. First up is the top of dip hold, where you're going to be in this position here. Now, a couple of things that I'm looking for when you're in this position is, 1, your elbows need to be locked out. Number 2, you want to try and close the gap between your forearm and your ribs. Like if someone's trying to tickle you, you want to try and close that gap as much as possible, okay? So that's the 2 things I'm looking for when you're in that position. That's the top of dip hold. You're going to hold that for 2 to 3 sets of anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. If that's too hard, you can do this just on a regular dip platform, so you don't actually need to do it on the rings. If that's too shaky, you don't have enough stability, you can just do it with regular straight bar, right? That's also fine. Also, the reason why, it's a bit of a side tangent, the reason why I'm making this video is because a lot of the people that see my shit don't live particularly close to the gym. So it means that you can still follow along the exact same progressions that people are doing inside the gym, but you can do it at your own gym. Number 2 is the bottom of dip hold. So you're going to do the exact same thing, but this time you're going to hold at the bottom. What I'm looking for again, head up, trying to keep the rings as close to your body as you possibly can and squeezing the rings nice and close. So again, your elbows aren't wide, you're trying to keep your elbows into your ribs as tight as possible. Again, 2 to 3 sets, 15 to 30 seconds. That gets quite hard, by the way. That's not an easy thing to do. And then the third isometric thing. Third isometric thing is probably up there, one of the hardest, I think quite hard anyway, is where you'll do a top of chin up hold. So you'll hold chin above the bar and you're just going to hold in this position here. Again, 15 to 30 seconds, as long as you can. I find that so hard. A lot of these isometric positions are a lot easier than the actual dynamic ones themselves. So doing a top of dip hold, bottom of dip hold, or top of chin up hold is easier than doing the chin up or doing the dip, and it just builds up that strength. So that's stage 1. Stage 2, look at this white, look at this. Fucking look at this. Stage 2 is where we go into 3 different moves. We go into the ring dip, the kip swing on the rings, and then the ring transition, right? So with the ring dip, ideally I like to train these strict, okay? People trying to do kipping movements before they do strict movements is just no bueno. It typically doesn't end well. So I like to try and build a bit of a strict foundation. So what I'm gonna get you guys doing is anywhere from 2 to 3 sets, 5 to 10 reps of, again, strict ring dips. Now, if, again, you can't do these on rings, just do them on a straight bar, that's absolutely fine. But you're gonna try and maintain the same positions that you did for your holds. So you're at the top, holding at the bottom, keeping your elbows in as much as you possibly can, okay? With that tempo and control as well. The next one is kip swings on the rings. Don't get Henry in, don't get the mess in. So this is where things become a little bit more dynamic when we want to try and get involved in on the rings and learn how to kip swing on the rings. These rings are quite hard, so it's a long strap, so it goes all the way up to like, I don't know, 20 plus foot. So it's a little bit harder to control, but if you learn how to do them on these, you'll be able to do them on the shorter rings. Where we just want to get into the kip swing, so feet together, toes down, pulling back on the rings and pushing forward. You want to try and maintain that hollow and that arch position when you're going through the rings, keeping your feet together in a nice tight grip on the rings. Now, we've done a lot of kip swing work on the rig in previous classes, so we're just trying to take the positions that we've learned from the hollow and arch there and put them on the rings, okay? So that's number 2. And then number 3 is a ring transition. So that's number 3, where your bum is going to be on the floor and you're basically going to look to extend at the hip and transition over the ring as much as you can. So extending at the hip and coming over to the top of the rings as quickly as you can. Now, when you do this, there's a reason why we do these isometric holds at the start, is because you want to replicate these positions when you do the dynamic movement after. So when I've landed in that position, we're trying to keep our elbows in as tight as possible so that you have a strong platform to be able to press out of, all right? So that is number 2 done. Number 3, last stage, right? Last stage is the actual ring muscle up itself. So we've got 3 movements: the toes to ring. So again, it's just to develop up that kip swing. A hip to ring, to show how to generate a little bit of power in your hips. And then the third one's the spotted ring muscle up. Might not get the fucking tripod out and you can spot me, right? So, what does this look like? Does this look like shit? You can't see it? Right. I'll just demo it first. So, doing the toes to ring, what it basically teaches you how to do. How's the lighting? Do we need to move? That's okay. What the toes to ring does is essentially teaches you how to kip on the rings properly. When you start kipping on the rings, it's not like the bar. The bar just stays there, it's stationary, it's not going to move anywhere. Whereas with the rings, you can start swinging backwards and forwards. And that is really, really hard to manage when they try and transition into the ring muscle up. Next one's hips to ring. I'll do that again. Typically do this in singles because it's quite hard to do multiple reps of. So from here, basically what you're looking to do is as you're pulling down on the rings, you want to extend the hips just like you did on the floor drill and try and essentially pull the rings as close to your hips with straight arms as you possibly can. What that teaches us is to pull properly and pull high enough so that when we transition over the rings, you're landing in that correct position. Number 3, might need to get the tripod. I did nothing. Fuck. Don't fall. Fuck. There we go. Right. That was, hopefully you've seen a nice lovely clip there of me spotting either Demi or Lauren do the spotted ring muscle up, right? Now, that's a lot to get through in one session, so what the objective is to take you through over the course of 4 to 6 weeks, to take you from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. So if you're someone that's got a couple of chin-ups already, they can do ring dips semi-comfortably, that has a good concept of how to kip on a rig, then there's no reason why you can't achieve a ring muscle up coming to these classes or following this progression over the coming weeks. So, That's what we're going to be working on inside HQ in 2 weeks' time. Or as of, I don't know the exact date, I'll maybe put the date of when we're going to start working on that. And I'm going to send a bunch of emails out talking about this stuff as well. So if you have any questions, reach out, let me know. If not, get inside HQ, let's go.